Hi guys! Thanks to Scholastic for allowing us to use their books for read-alouds. I'm going to read you What If You Had an Animal Nose? And this is by Sandra Markle and illustrated by Howard McWiiam. What if one day when you woke up and looked in the mirror, the nose on your face wasn't yours? What if, overnight, a wild animal's nose took over its place? And the first animal we're going to talk about is called a tapir. A tapir is a plant-eating animal with a very handy nose. Its nose moves and bends to grab leaves off a branch or push fruit into the tapir's mouth. A tapir's nose is joined with its upper lip. It bends and moves so well because it's made of muscle. Once a nose is that big and movable, it's called proboscis. Fact: tapirs mainly eat at night, so they bend their noses in all directions to sniff out food in the dark. If you had a tapir snout, you could catch a home run ball, even with your hands full. Next is the cottontail rabbit. A rabbit's nose is packed with smell sensors, and rabbit noses twitch for many different reasons. A rabbit wiggles its nose up and down to pull more air in when it sniffs. That helps it find food or tell when hungry hunters are close so it can hop to safety. A rabbit's nose twitches faster when it's interested or excited, sometimes as many as 120 times a minute. Fact: rabbits have long, super sensitive whiskers on either side of their nose. These whiskers help rabbits feel if a space is big enough to squeeze through, even in the dark. If you had a rabbit's nose, your twitching nose would show off your school spirit. Next is the elephant. An elephant's nose may be the most useful nose on the planet. It's so long and special it even has its own name, a trunk. An elephant's trunk can sniff smells from lots of directions, even from up high. It can lift and carry something as heavy, as big as a log. An elephant also uses its trunk to pull in water, as much as 2 gallons at a time. So that would be like 2 of your milk jugs at a time. Then it sprays a drink in its mouth or gives itself a shower. Fact: the tip of an elephant's trunk works like fingers. It can pick up something as little as a peanut and pop it into its mouth. If you had an elephant's trunk, you wouldn't need to go to a water park in the summer. Next is my favorite animal, a grizzly bear. A grizzly bear's nose is packed with smell sensors. No wonder this bear is a champ at tracking down food, sometimes from over a mile away. It needs to find and eat all the food it can before winter. That's when a grizzly bear goes into a deep sleep called hibernation and usually doesn't eat at all. Fact: the smell-sensing areas in a grizzly bear's nose are 100 times bigger than a human's. If you had a grizzly bear's nose, you could sniff out all your favorite goodies and only trick or treat at the best houses. Next is a warthog. A warthog's nose isn't pretty, but it's the perfect food finder. First, the warthog uses its strong sense of smell to sniff out the underground roots and bulbs it likes to eat. Then, the warthog rolls its nose around to dig into soft soil, with some help from its tusks. Finally, the warthog uses its nose to lift dirt out of the hole until it finds the roots or bulbs to munch. Fact: warthogs greet each other with nose-to-nose bumps. If you had a warthog's nose, you would never need anything but your nose to build sand castles. Next is a saiga. A saiga is a sheep-sized antelope with proboscis nose. Its proboscis is lined with hairs and snotty mucus, making it perfect for filtering out dust. That's important because the saiga's homeland is often dry and dusty. Herds of saigas live together and kick up a lot of dust traveling in search of grass to eat. Fact: some saigas live in parts of Russia where winters are very cold. The saiga's big nose heats up icy air as the saiga breathes it in. If you had a saiga's nose, you would never notice when a room was dusty. Next is a star-nosed mole. A star-nosed mole is a small, burrowing animal that uses its nose to find dinner in the dark underground, and sometimes even underwater. The star-nosed mule uses its nose to smell, but it also uses it to feel for food. Its nose has 22 flashy rays around the nostrils. These are always moving, and quick as a blink. The mole knows if its nose touches food, like a worm or an insect. Fact: to smell underwater, the star-nosed mole blows bubbles and then sniffs, pulling the air bubbles into its nose past its smell sensors. I think that's pretty cool. If you had a star-nosed mole's nose, you could find a midnight snack without turning on the kitchen light. I'm just not quite sure if I'd want my nose looking like that. Next is the rhinoceros. A rhinoceros is the only animal with a horn on its nose. It's made up of layers of keratin, the same stuff that human hair and fingernails are made of. Male rhinos use their horns to duel for mates. So when they're dueling for mates, that means they're fighting with another rhino. Females use theirs to guard babies. Besides having a horn, a rhino's nose has a keen sense of smell to find leaves and fruit to eat. They can also sniff for enemies like lions. Fact: a baby rhinoceros isn't born with a horn, but one soon starts growing and never stops. So this is a little baby rhinoceros. If you had a rhinoceros nose, you'd be the perfect bodyguard. Next is a giant anteater. What looks like a giant anteater's long nose is really its upper and lower jaws joined together. Its nose is on the tip of this long tube. This nose is perfect for poking into hard-to-reach places to sniff out yummy insects like ants and termites. A giant anteater also uses its long nose like a snorkel when it goes swimming, so it can breathe while it's underwater. Fact: when it smells insects, the giant anteater flicks its super long tongue in and out quickly, as many as 160 times in a minute, and eats bugs by the thousands. You can see the little tiny picture down here, the anteater's long tongue. If you had a giant anteater's nose, you could go scuba diving without a snorkel. Next, we have the Barrett's horseshoe bat. A Barrett's horseshoe bat's nose makes a super nighttime bug hunter. Like other bats, a Barrett's horseshoe bat hunts by snorting high-pitched noises out of its nose and listening for echoes of anything around them. But most bats shoot sounds in every direction at once. The shape of this bat's nose channels the sound so it can pinpoint exactly where to snag an insect. Fact: to save energy, a Barrett's horseshoe bat often hangs from a branch while snorting noises. When an echo signals an insect is nearby, the bat flies after it. If you had a boar's horseshoe bat's nose, you'd catch every fly that tried to spoil your picnic. The hammerhead shark. A hammerhead shark's nose is only for smelling, not breathing. The shark swings its head side to side, forcing water into a nostril near each eye. Because its nostrils are so far apart, the shark can tell if a fishy scent is stronger to the left or the right. Then it tracks down its dinner. Fact: a hammerhead shark can smell blood from a wounded prey as far as half a mile away. If you had a hammerhead shark nose, you would always know the best places to fish. A wild animal's nose could be cool for a while, but you don't use your nose to spray water or dig into the ground. You don't need your nose to catch flies or to be a snorkel while you swim underwater. And you'll never grab anything with your nose, no matter what. So if you could keep a wild animal nose for more than a day, what would be right for you? Luckily, you don't have to choose. The nose on your face will always be a people nose. It will be what you need to breathe and sniff all the scents around you. It's a perfect place to rest glasses if you need to see better. Best of all, your nose is just what you need to look like you. And this was What If You Had an Animal Nose by Sandra Markle and illustrated by Howard McWiiam. Thank you guys for listening.